First question comes to us today from Mark. Mark has a 1987 300 SDL. And for those of you that are joining us for the first time, welcome. Great to see you. For those of us that have come back for more great information, great to see you also. Mark says that his center vents on his 1987 300 SDL are not functioning despite the fact that he has checked all of these guys, his vacuum actuators, to see if they hold vacuum. So we're going to deal with some of the other issues affecting Mercedes automatic climate control systems. Relevant models in this case include the W126, W123, W107, W201, and the W124. Now, there are a couple things at play here. First of all, one must check and see if they have vacuum to the vacuum solenoid valve grid, which on the 300 SDL is on the passenger side transmission tunnel by where your left leg hits the kick panel. This solenoid valve grid has a red and green line going to it that should have vacuum from the engine while the car is running. If it does have vacuum, but vacuum is not being distributed to the center vents, all of the actuators should be checked for leaks, particularly the recirculation actuators behind the glove box, the fresh air actuator just above the gas pedal, the center vent actuator, and the defrost actuator, which is hidden in the inside right section of the dash. If all of these guys are holding vacuum, but vacuum is not coming to them, then the solenoid valve grid may very likely be at fault. However, it is best at the vacuum gauge to check the supply to every single port on the vacuum solenoid grid with the push button control unit hooked up and see if any of them are supplying vacuum at all. If some of them are supplying vacuum but others are not, then the solenoid valve grid is bad and should be replaced. If none of them are receiving vacuum, then you may very likely have a fuse issue or a power supply issue to the solenoid valve grid, and I would strongly encourage you to check your fuses. While the push button control unit can have some effect on this, I would save it for as a last possible diagnosis. Now, one thing that you should be aware of is at the end of each of these actuators there is a plastic connector that holds the actuator into the flap of the vent. Now the one for the 126 center vent doesn't quite look like this. It actually has a hook with a 90-degree angle, but it does have a little plastic rivet that holds it in. If this plastic rivet has failed and dropped down into the case, then one should procure a new one and remove the center vent actuator and replace it. At the time, it's certainly worth it to replace said actuator. If for some reason that doesn't help, then I would certainly go back and replace the push button control unit. Now, you also, Mark, had asked about a loose center vent control lever. Yes, it is possible that this could be part of the problem. There is a screw that fixes the center vent control lever to an upper air flap. And if this screw comes loose and backs out all the way, then the air flap will remain closed. This can be accessed by removing the glove box or popping the center vents out themselves, which actually pop out under hand pressure, push into the dash, rotate at a 90-degree angle, and come out through the nose. Please let us know if there's any additional information we can provide. A great place to buy parts in this case is Mercedes-Benz of Monterey. Their parts department is just wonderful and they always help us. And they can be reached at 888-375-2456. Thank you. Have a great day. Please like us and please send us your video inquiries.